different kinds of steps, but when you go to Milonga, they're never used. The only way you can really tell is a couple people that I specifically danced with. They would put me through the same move over and over and over and over again, and that's, I think, we speculated that's because they learned it in a lesson and they liked it and they know how to do it. So they're trying to look as best as they can, so they just do the same thing over and over again. It's really boring when you're dancing to it. Yeah. And the music is a very, very important part of the dance. I don't want to step on the toes of the music group too much, but it is also very obvious when you're dancing with someone if they are familiar with the music. Because a good dancer, a good lead, if they are familiar with the music, will dance with it. When the music speeds up a little bit, you'll take more steps. When there's a slow, more gliding strings, the violin, that's when you'll stand and do your extensions and show off your legs. We heard a couple of people that we danced with say that the same songs are played at the same milongas every night, so that way the dancers can get more familiar with the songs and they can sort of learn how to better dance to them, and how to make the dance look better by following the music more. Music is also can be seen as a communicational device between two people who've never danced together before. If they're both familiar with the song, then they will kind of be able to not necessarily read each other's minds better, but kind of expect more what's coming and be able to embellish the dance to make it match the music. And with that, we are going to transition to the attire of what is normally worn at milongas, and that will be Chantal.
It's me, actually. Caitlin Chantel, it's the same thing. So, my name is Caitlin, for anybody who wasn't paying attention in that week and a half that we spent in Buenos Aires. And what I want you guys to do is wake up and watch this video, and as soon as you see them, start kind of shouting out colors that you're seeing in the video.
Red.
Red, black, blue is an accident, white. You can stop the video. Because those are the only colors that is in this video, and if my lovely lady assistants would stand up, you'll notice that we are also wearing only black, white, and red. Next. Yeah, oh yeah. Next slide, please. So this kind of black, white, red motif is what I have decided to call poster tango. When you see a postcard with tango on it, or you see a poster for a show, the costumes are almost always in shades of black and white and red. And that's because these colors are very dramatic, and they're very sensual, and they're very intimate. And those are the big points that they want to sell to tango, or of tango. So that's what they put on the posters. And we saw it a lot in the milongas, but actually people wear pretty much whatever they want. The big emphasis, the one thing that everybody does, is an emphasis on the legs and the feet. And that comes from the way that it's danced. There's an emphasis on the legs and the feet, and therefore your attire is going to do the same thing. Next slide, please. The ladies, if you'll recall what our tango teachers said when we were in Buenos Aires, they add the spice and the beauty to a tango dance. And for that reason, there's a lot of their hair being out of their face. So part of it's probably because so the guy doesn't get her hair in his mouth. And another part of it is it's a lot easier to dance when your hair is out of your face. And again, there's an emphasis on the legs, but also the back and the arms. And so there's a lot of skirts, if Amelia and Whitney would step forward, skirts that are made out of these swishy fabrics that kind of move around with the dance. Do a twirl. Yeah, very swishy. And if you look at all of us, even Elise who's wearing jeans, you can see all of our ankles. Even women who are wearing pants would wear pants that were cinched at the ankle so that you could see their feet. Of course, there's an exception to every rule, which I will get to later. You'll go to the next slide. Those exceptions are milongas that we found were more casual, and we've been calling them alternative milongas. These are the milongas that are playing the electronic tango, that are catering to maybe an alternative lifestyle, gay, lesbian kind of milongas. They were more lenient on how you dressed. So there were lots of people in jeans and more like clubby attire. A lot of what Elise, if you could come out. A lot of the exceptions to the rule, they look like Elise, but if you can turn around, you'll see that her back is still exposed and you can still see her legs. And if Sarah would stand up, she's wearing a style that's really popular now because it's young and it's still pretty, but it still has that do it thin. It still has that, you can see her legs, you can see her arms, but her hair is down, which is different. Next slide. Oh my God, if you're not wearing the right shoes, there's something wrong with you. Everybody come out. And who can tell me what the difference is between everybody else's shoes and my shoes?
Closed.
Mine are closed. That is so not cool in Argentina right now. And I actually had closed-toed dancing shoes and nobody wanted to dance with me. I straight up got judged. And you'll also notice that all of them have straps to keep them on their feet. So if I do a kick, my shoe's gonna go flying all the way over there. And it's gonna be a problem. Thank you, ladies. So the average height for a tango shoe is about 7.5 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. Pretty chunk of a heel, but it's like Sarah. And that is to keep you on your toes and your weight forward, and it makes your legs look sexy. So the higher and strappier the heel looks, the more in fashion it's going to be. And those two facts, I guess, are straight from the horse's mouth. I heard it a lot when those girls were out shopping for tango shoes, because I didn't make the investment. But when they were shopping, a lot of the store owners would say, oh, you know, this is really fashionable because it's strappy and it's hot or whatever. Next slide. So again, there's this heavy emphasis. Go ahead and play the video. I'll just talk over it. This is a video from the movie that we watched in class that emphasizes this leggy, army, very sexy kind of movement, even though she's wearing closed-toed shoes. But this movie was made in the 80s, and everybody knows the 80s is totally out. There's some cool footwork here in a second that I'm going to wait for. She's actually looking at her shadow because, you know, obviously who you're going to look at during the dance is probably the girl. And that'll do. I think the gentleman deserves some attention. The gentlemen have it way easier when it comes to tango attire. Basically, you emulate one more click. This guy that if you don't know him by now, you were not on that trip. Carlos Gardel is a huge influence on the gentleman's attire in tango. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. That very dapper, kind of suave, very clean-cut appearance is what's important for the gentleman. Their hair, the gentleman that we saw that had long hair, they put it back, they put on a hat, that kind of fedora, Carlos Gardel hat. And it's very, very snappy, very good-looking clothing, even if the guy wasn't that great looking. And even the men's shoes have a slight heel, usually an inch or so or less, and that is, again, because of this emphasis on the feet, it keeps you on your toes and it keeps your weight forward. The majority of the gentlemen that we saw looked like, you know, they were wearing their Sunday best. They didn't necessarily go out and buy the tango clothes like the women would do. They kind of just wore what made them look nice. And next slide. In conclusion with attire, it was basically you need to look nice. And when you didn't look nice, you were either at a milonga that preached, you know, be comfortable and, you know, come in your jeans, or you were a tourist. And the only people I saw in sneakers were tourists, or people who weren't dancing. And Sarah's actually going to talk about the influence of attire and etiquette and what it means to be wearing a certain something on who's going to ask you to dance.
So first of all, in Buenos Aires, tango is a very social event. Milongas are social. Most dance venues, they serve food, wine. It's somewhere you can go to speak, you know, enjoy the company, enjoy the music, as well as dance. And although audience members might seem to be, you know, irrelevant to the dance, they actually are actively participating in milongas because everyone starts out as an audience member. You're observing and you're being observed, which is probably one of the most important things. Because before dancing, people have to go through the process of figuring out who are they going to ask to dance. So they look at a few key factors. They observe you. First, they look at what you're wearing. Are you wearing tango clothes? Tango shoes, that's a dead giveaway. Are your companions dancing? Are you dancing with other people?